Hey, what's up? This is Gudii with a new video for hunting places for paladins. This time I'm going to show you the Medusa cell of Goroma. To get here you need to do this quest up until you get access to Talahu, the island of the Hydras, and fix the teleport there. Once you're done, make sure you have a pick because you need it to open the hole to the cave, and then head southeast from the starting point and find this hole. Go down and kill or run past the guards and use the pick here. Then go inside and head north until you find the experience door. This spawn is very popular because of the decent experience and high profit. Usually there are mage hunting here with SDs and they still are able to break even or profit. Paladins, however, get the most out of this spawn and can easily profit from 50 to 100k per hunt, but as a paladin this spawn can be quite difficult. In fact, the lower level you are, the harder and more risky it can be. Medusas hit really hard, but the real problem is your HP. If you're a low level, it means you have to basically use Exoragram Sand after every spell from the Medusas to avoid death, and this makes the spawn more wasteful. I came to this spawn as early as level 113 and I honestly hated the spawn so much. I was waiting and it was very risky. It was my first time hunting here, so I was a pretty noob. After that I came back a few levels later at 117 and even though I wasn't that much higher, I had a much better idea of how to hunt. But honestly the spawn became decent or good at around level 130. This is when I could afford to heal mostly with Exuras and minimize my waste. Also, getting used to the spawn is really helpful. This cave in particular is supposed to be divided into the west side and the east. I didn't know about it until later on when somebody explained to me how the spawn gets divided. Basically, on this mushroom you have a line that divides the cave in two, making the east side have two paths and the cave downstairs, and the west is the biggest, having three paths and also the cave downstairs. So keep this in mind and be respectful. It's important to understand that as a paladin the most ideal side to hunt is the west side surface. Sticking to the three paths is more than enough for a paladin hunting one by one. Do not go to the cave downstairs unless the surface is taken and you're given permission to take the cave. I'll show you how to hunt there in a little bit. So assuming the spawn is empty, going down you want to bring firewall runes, especially if you're a low level. Once you go down, place the rune on this spot and then it'll make it a lot easier to kill the entrance. Normally there should be one Medusa, and sometimes a serpent spawn, but sometimes you might lure a second Medusa from the north, so be careful and don't move too much because with just one Medusa and one serpent spawn, you're already at risk. Again, if the cave is empty and you're a low level, it's a good alternative to staying in the entrance with the firewall rune in the same position and just lure the monster from all the nearby paths. That way, you won't need to go further and this should make the hunt more safe. Or else, you can choose to hunt by kiting and it's good enough to just keep on luring from the paths to the main rune and kite the monster in circles here. Now, moving to the east side of the gate, this one doesn't allow to lure the monsters to the entrance and kite, so you gotta run in the same path back and forth until you kill all the creatures. This means getting hit on melee quite often, as well as getting hit by the waves a lot more. This is why these are much harder and wasteful. You should hunt on this side only if you're over level 130 and even then it's still not very efficient. And the downstairs of the east side is also the hardest. There is almost no room to run at the entrance and high chances of luring more, so honestly don't bother going down there until level 150 or more. Because even if you go down and hunt there, once you're done and head upstairs, there could be a Medusa and two serpent spawns with zero space to run, hence making it all much worse. The downstairs cave of the west side is much easier to hunt, especially if you do it with firewall runes. I tried a bunch of different positions and they're all about the same. It's hard to avoid the waves, so your focus should be to not give me lead and to not lure more than two at best. Ideally, if you manage to lure one by one, you'll be fine hunting here on level 115. On this cave there's around 6 Medusas and 6 serpent spawns, which is more than enough for a paladin to hunt. Even if you're over the level 150, usually you don't clear the cave fast enough to have the need for more, but it's still preferred to stay in the surface because it's much easier and less wasteful. For the supplies, if you're around level 120, you're gonna need about 200 strong mana potions and 1000 arrows for 60 minute hunts. That is with 2 mana least tier 1, but like I said at the start, the higher level you are, the more efficient you can be and you will reduce your waste. Also, it's a good idea to bring 2 garlic necklaces. This is something that I didn't know until much later, but they do reduce the damage of the Medusa's nuke by a lot. As for the experience, you can make up to 370k on green and 250 on yellow. This is while being around level 120 with low skills. At level 140, I was making around 400k on green and 265 on yellow. So the higher level you are, the more efficient this spawn becomes. The profit is most of the time good enough to cover your waste and get you around 40k profit. This is with looting everything and getting around 4 rares per hunt, which is about the average. At around level 160, I was starting to make close to the 100k per hour on this spawn. Also, it's good to know that both of these creatures can be taskable, however it's for level 130 and higher. This is in fact one of the most viable spawns to do the task of that level, but it will take you around 6 to 7 hours of hunting to finish both tasks, so hopefully you've been doing the early tasks for points. So honestly, I would just recommend coming here after 130 to be more efficient, hunt safer and do some tasking at the same time, but it's up to you if you want to challenge the spawn earlier. And that's it for this video. I hope you liked it and see you next time. The boss for each task is located in Deep Panura, so it's recommended to finish both tasks before going to kill them in order to do both at the same time. Also, you're gonna have to do the Ape City quest until the last mission in order to get access to the spawn. Once here, I recommend killing your way into the bosses. Also, it's a good idea to pick up the task again before coming here since you're gonna end up killing a few anyways. They are very similar to the regular monsters, so difficulty won't be a problem, and you can also use firewall runes if you want to. This spawn is also a good alternative for tasking. You can do both Medusas and Serpent spawns as well as Hydras. Personally, this is one of the few spawns that I didn't try, for no particular reason, I just prefer Medusa's Hell.